no one would have ever thought, oh, that baby is Harry's, until she put that idea out there.
We all know I love a redhead. And let me stop you before they start. No, it's not his baby. Those words appeared on Meghan Markle's Instagram account this weekend, accompanied by a laughing emoji and a photograph of the Duchess of Sussex cradling her best friend's newborn son. The baby's face fully visible to her millions of followers. The friend forced to respond with an awkward ha ha ha, and the public left wondering what exactly they had just witnessed. Because here is the thing nobody seems willing to say out loud. Nobody was asking. Nobody had looked at that photograph of Meghan holding Kelly McKee-Zaishfin's infant son Jack Oliver and thought anything remotely close to what Meghan preemptively denied. The rumor she laughed off, the affair she joked about, the suggestion that Prince Harry might have fathered her best friend's child, none of that existed in the public conversation until Meghan herself planted it there. She took a tender moment, a newborn baby, a friendship supposedly precious enough to document for the world, and she made it about speculation regarding her husband's fidelity. She turned someone else's child into a punchline for drama that she herself manufactured. The reaction online arrived within minutes, and it was brutal. One commenter captured what thousands were thinking when they wrote that Meghan was holding Kelly's baby and still had to make it about herself. Another pointed out that nobody thought that until you said it. The observation that Meghan had effectively introduced an affair rumor into the minds of millions while pretending to dismiss one is the kind of self-sabotage that would make any competent publicist reach for a stiff drink. But Meghan Markle no longer employs competent publicists. She employs herself. This was not a private joke between friends. This was not a casual text message that leaked. This was a deliberate, calculated post-broadcast to a global audience, complete with emoji, complete with the friend's baby's face on full display, complete with a caption that ensured everyone would now be thinking about Harry and infidelity and whose baby belongs to whom. For a woman who has spent years complaining about media intrusion and privacy violations, the choice to make her friend's newborn the centerpiece of a joke about adultery represents something beyond tone deaf. It represents a fundamental misunderstanding of what friendship, discretion, and maternal instinct actually look like. Kelly Zainfin had no choice but to play along. What was she going to do? Publicly contradict the Duchess of Sussex while her hours-old infant was being used as a prop in Meghan's personal narrative management? So Kelly posted ha ha ha, and the awkwardness hung in the air like smoke that refuses to clear. The friendship may survive this. Then again, friendships with Meghan Markle have a documented tendency not to survive much of anything. The response from royal watchers and media commentators landed with particular force because everyone understood what they were seeing. For the first time, as one insider put it, Meghan is acknowledging she follows everything, reads everything, knows what people say about her. That laughing emoji was not confidence, it was a tell. It revealed a woman so consumed by the commentary surrounding her marriage that she could not resist addressing rumors that most people in her position would simply ignore. The affair speculation she referenced, the very real rumors that commentator Dan Wooten mentioned, those whispers have circulated for months in certain corners of the internet. By joking about them, Meghan confirmed that she not only knows about them but that they bother her enough to warrant a public response disguised as humor. The comparison to previous royal scandals makes Meghan's approach look even more baffling. Prince Charles and Princess Diana did not publicly acknowledge affair rumors for years, even as the entire world speculated about their marriage. The royal playbook has always been clear on this point. You do not dignify gossip with a response. You certainly do not turn it into Instagram content. Yet here was the Duchess of Sussex, a woman who constantly reminds us how much she learned from her brief time in the monarchy, doing the exact opposite of what any royal advisor would recommend. She validated the speculation by pretending to laugh it off. And then there was the baby. Jack Oliver Zaishfin, days old, his face broadcast to millions without any apparent consideration for the principles Meghan claims to champion. This is a woman who traveled to Geneva to address the World Health Organization on the subject of child online safety. She stood before global health officials and spoke about protecting children in the digital age. She has positioned herself as an advocate for keeping young people safe from the dangers of social media exposure. And then she posted someone else's newborn to her massive platform with a caption about her husband potentially having an affair with the child's mother. The hypocrisy investigation begins with Harry's own words, spoken publicly and repeatedly over the past several years. You should be really, really worried. concerned, and cautious about putting photographs of your kids online. That is a direct quote from the Duke of Sussex, the same Duke of Sussex whose wife just exposed an infant to exactly the kind of global scrutiny he claims to oppose. If Harry meant what he said, if he genuinely believes that children should be protected from online exposure, then this post should have troubled him deeply. Either he objected and Meghan ignored him, or he did not object at all, which means his public advocacy on this issue is performance rather than principle. The Geneva speech adds another layer to this contradiction. Meghan literally stood before the World Health Organization and spoke about the dangers children face online. She positioned herself as someone who understands these risks, who cares about these issues, who wants to see meaningful change. Yet when the moment came to practice what she preaches, when her friend presumably asked if it would be okay to share this photo, Meghan said yes. Or perhaps Meghan suggested it herself. Either way, if she truly believed her own advocacy, she would have told Kelly no regardless of what Kelly wanted. She would have explained that her public position on child online safety made it impossible for her to participate in exposing an infant to her global audience. That conversation apparently never happened. Cybersecurity expert Will Geddes dismantled the defense that Meghan's team has attempted to mount. When spokespersons pointed out that Meghan obscures her own children's faces in photos, Geddes explained why that argument falls apart upon examination. Backs of heads become recognizable, he noted. It does not actually conceal identity the way people assume. Anyone who sees those children regularly, nannies, school staff, family friends, can identify them from behind just as easily as from the front. The supposed protection is largely illusory, a gesture toward privacy rather than actual privacy itself. But more importantly for this particular controversy, Meghan did not obscure baby Jack's face at all. The infant was fully visible, fully identifiable, fully exposed to whatever consequences come from being featured on a celebrity's Instagram account. If the back of the head defense was already weak when applied to Archie and Lilibet, it becomes completely irrelevant when discussing a newborn whose face Meghan showed without hesitation. The double standard could not be clearer. Her children deserve protection from online exposure. Her friends' children apparently do not. Geddes also articulated what he calls the 3 T's that parents should follow when it comes to children and technology: talk, trust, and teamwork. Parents should talk to children about their online presence and its implications. They should build trust so children feel comfortable discussing problems, and they should work as a team when things go wrong. These are practical, actionable recommendations that any parent can implement immediately. Meghan mentioned none of this in Geneva. Her speech offered vague complaints about social media companies and their algorithms without providing any concrete guidance for the families she claimed to be helping. She presented problems without solutions, concerns without recommendations, advocacy without substance. The spokesperson response to this criticism revealed just how desperate Meghan's team has become to spin the unspinnable. A source close to Meghan told Page 6 that what Markle talked about in Geneva, what young kids are being exposed to via dangerous algorithms and content, is very different than her own positive content. The argument appears to be that harmful content is harmful, but Meghan's content is positive, therefore Meghan's content cannot be harmful. This is circular reasoning dressed up as media strategy. The danger to children online does not depend on whether the person posting considers their content positive. It depends on exposure, on reach, on the permanent nature of digital footprints. A baby photograph seen by millions is a baby photograph seen by millions regardless of the caption attached to it. Meghan's official spokesperson offered Newsweek a more elaborate defense. The Duchess has always been clear that there is a distinction between sharing moments from her life and exposing her children to public scrutiny. By obscuring their faces, she is demonstrating the very principle she advocates for, giving children privacy, agency, and protection in an incredibly digital world. Far from being contradictory, by concealing their faces, she is actually reflecting the message she delivered in Geneva. But parents can choose to share family experiences while still taking deliberate steps to protect identities, privacy, and a digital footprint. This statement would be somewhat persuasive if Meghan had obscured baby Jack's face. She did not. The entire defense crumbles the moment you look at the actual photograph in question. The spokesperson was defending a principle that Meghan herself violated in the very post that sparked the controversy. It is the kind of communications failure that suggests either the spokesperson did not actually look at the Instagram post before crafting the response, or the team has simply run out of ways to defend the indefensible. The positive content defense deserves particular scrutiny because it reveals how Meghan and her team actually think about these issues. They appear to believe that intent determines impact, that if Meghan means well, if Meghan considers her posts wholesome and aspirational, then the potential harm simply vanishes. This is not how the internet works. This is not how child safety works. A predator scrolling through Instagram does not care whether the person who posted a baby's photograph considers themselves a positive content creator. The exposure is the exposure. The reach is the reach. The permanent digital footprint exists regardless of the poster's self-image. The Father's Day disaster that followed the baby photograph controversy demonstrated once again that Meghan Markle operates in a reality entirely disconnected from the lives of ordinary people. Her as-ever email blast promoted what she apparently considers the perfect Father's Day breakfast. Buttery, flaky croissants served with a dab of salted butter and a swipe of strawberry spread. Fresh fruit, herbal lemon ginger tea, edible flowers, a breakfast served bedside with a warm smile and a loving hug. One royal commentator captured the absurdity perfectly when she noted that if she brought that to her husband on Father's Day, he would think she had lost her mind. He would ask where the bacon sandwich was. He would wonder why there were flowers on his food. The elitism dripping from every word of Meghan's promotion revealed a woman so far removed from how actual families celebrate that she might as well be marketing to residents of another planet. This is not how real fathers want to spend their morning. This is how Meghan imagines an aspirational lifestyle brand should depict fathers spending their morning. The tone deafness extended beyond mere product promotion into something more troubling. Meghan was celebrating Father's Day, urging her followers to honor the fathers in their lives with expensive breakfast items, while her own father remains completely estranged from her. Thomas Markle has spoken publicly about his simple wish. He wants a thank you from his daughter. He wants acknowledgement. He wants to meet his grandchildren before he dies. Instead, he receives silence while Meghan lectures the rest of us about showing appreciation to the fathers we love. The business reality lurking behind all this Instagram activity tells a story that Meghan's curated posts cannot conceal. Website traffic for As Ever dropped 33% in the first quarter of 2026. The products that launched with such fanfare, the jams and teas and flour sprinkles that supposedly sold out immediately, appear to be sitting in warehouses approaching their expiration dates. Food products cannot sit forever. Jam has a clock. Tea has a clock. Flour sprinkles have a clock. And once those expiration dates get too close, Meghan cannot keep selling them at luxury prices. Royal expert Alison Boshaw reportedly warned that the expiration dates on Meghan's As Ever products are getting closer to their deadline, creating a business problem that no amount of Instagram content can solve. The products need to move. If they do not move, they will expire. If they expire, the losses will be large. Estimates suggest the potential crisis could reach £5 million or more, roughly $7 million in unsold inventory. This creates what one insider described as a trap. If Meghan discounts her products to move them before expiration, she damages the luxury brand image she has worked to cultivate. The whole point of As Ever was supposed to be premium, polished, exclusive. A clearance sale screams desperation. But if she refuses to discount, she watches inventory expire on warehouse shelves, absorbing the losses while pretending everything is fine. Either way, the optics are terrible. Either way, the business is in trouble. The earlier sold-out narrative that accompanied the As Ever launch now looks increasingly suspicious. For months, Meghan's products were framed as so desirable that they could not stay in stock. Demand was supposedly overwhelming. But if the brand is now sitting on inventory with expiration dates approaching, then the public might reasonably ask whether As Ever was truly booming, or whether the brand was relying on carefully managed limited drops to create the appearance of scarcity that never actually existed. One insider claimed bluntly that the whole thing about her As Ever stuff selling out is not true anymore. If accurate, this represents a major blow to Meghan's credibility as a businesswoman. She built her post-royal identity partly on the premise that she could succeed independently, that she did not need the monarchy, that her personal brand was valuable enough to sustain a lifestyle empire. As Ever was supposed to prove all of that. If it collapses under the weight of unsold stock, it may prove the exact opposite. Princess Anne's verdict on Meghan Markle, revealed in new exclusive reporting from Paula Froelich at News Nation, provides context for why the Duchess never managed to fit into royal life despite having every advantage imaginable. According to Froelich's sources, Anne sized up Meghan almost instantly. The Princess Royal is known within royal circles as level-headed and able to get a good read on people quickly. What she saw in Meghan apparently confirmed her worst suspicions. One source described being recently at a party with Princess Anne when someone asked about Prince Harry's wife. A chill went over the crowd. Everyone just looked at each other with utter disgust. The words expressed to the source were careful but damning. We cannot say too much, but Meghan was incapable of fitting in with anyone because she could not cope with following simple rules as she felt her way was better. The source elaborated further. Once Meghan realized nobody was interested in her way, she would hide away and just use her ways with hers and Harry's staff until they wanted out of her presence because it was completely bonkers. This assessment aligns with everything we have observed about Meghan's approach to royal life. She arrived believing she knew better than an institution that had survived for 1,000 years. She treated centuries of protocol as obstacles to be overcome, rather than traditions to be respected. When the family declined to restructure itself around her preferences, she retreated into victimhood and eventually departed entirely, dragging Harry along with her. The Harry we see now bears little resemblance to the prince the world once adored. 5 years ago, he was arguably the most popular member of the royal family. Charming, relatable, devoted to his military work and charitable causes, he represented everything appealing about the monarchy without the stuffiness that sometimes accompanies senior royals. Today, he is isolated from his family, estranged from his friends, exiled from his country, reduced to flipping burgers at publicity events, and defending a wife whose every public appearance generates fresh controversy. That transformation did not happen in a vacuum. It happened because someone systematically moved him away from everyone and everything that mattered. Fame and personal branding took priority over family and tradition. The results speak for themselves. The bigger pattern emerging around Harry and Meghan suggests that the walls are closing in from multiple directions simultaneously. Court documents released over the weekend confirmed that Harry's visa application materials could begin reaching the public by the end of July.
When Harry came to the United States, he had to presumably fill out visa paperwork. And on that paperwork, there are not a lot of questions, but one of the most important ones is, have you in the past abused illegal drugs?
The Heritage Foundation lawsuit against the State Department is progressing under a very different administration than the one that previously shielded Harry from scrutiny. Conservative lawyer John Witherspoon noted that this is a different sandbox, a different playground than what existed during the Biden years. The State Department anticipates making its first production of non-exempt portions of representative records at the end of July. That is just weeks away. After that initial release, new documents will emerge every 8 weeks through November 2026. The question of how Harry answered the immigration paperwork regarding his admitted drug use, whether he was truthful or whether he received special treatment, will gradually become clearer with each document dump. If he lied on federal immigration forms, that represents grounds for deportation. If he told the truth and received favorable treatment, that raises its own set of uncomfortable questions. The visa documents represent just one pressure point. The business is failing, public patience is exhausted, legal exposure is mounting. Every attempt to rehabilitate the Sussex image, from Netflix projects to speaking engagements to Instagram posts about other people's babies, seems to generate more backlash than goodwill. The couple who were supposed to conquer America, who were supposed to build $1 billion brand, who were supposed to prove that leaving the monarchy was the smartest decision either of them ever made, instead find themselves defending jam expiration dates and explaining away jokes about adultery. This Instagram post was not random. The joke about Harry and Kelly and the baby was not spontaneous humor between friends. It was deflection, an attempt to get ahead of rumors by making them seem absurd, by laughing them off before anyone could take them seriously. But Meghan miscalculated badly. She confirmed that she reads everything, knows what people say, and that it is getting under her skin. The laughing emoji did not communicate confidence, it communicated anxiety. The bold prediction is this: within 6 months, we will see either a dramatic pivot or the beginning of the end. The dramatic pivot would involve the children, Archie and Lilibet, finally shown publicly in a desperate attempt to drum up sympathy and remind the world that Harry and Meghan are parents, that they have a family, that they deserve support and understanding. Every time public opinion turns decisively against them, the children have been deployed as shields. Expect that pattern to continue. The alternative is the beginning of a formal separation narrative. Not necessarily divorce, not immediately, but the careful PR-managed establishment of distance between Harry and Meghan. He wants to return to the United Kingdom. She refuses. He misses his family. She isolates him further. The groundwork for a separation story has already been laid in dozens of articles over the past year. If the business collapses, if the visa situation becomes untenable, if the marriage strain becomes impossible to hide, expect that narrative to accelerate. The affair joke was not funny because somewhere in Montecito, nobody is laughing. The Instagram post that was supposed to demonstrate how unbothered Meghan is by speculation, instead demonstrated exactly how bothered she truly is. The woman who wanted us to believe she had it all together, the perfect marriage, the perfect family, the perfect lifestyle brand, could not resist addressing rumors that most people in her position would simply ignore. That tells us everything we need to know about where things actually stand. Sound off in the comments, and if this is your first time here, subscribe. You will want to be here for what is coming.